when you ask me what was important for me, now thinking about SOGLA, then definitely I became identity. Because when you are doing something in the social entrepreneurial arena, you are foremost lonely. And then you belong. Of course, this gives a lot of stability and helps you to overcome all the crises. What is really important, and it took us quite a while, I think, to be very, very clear what are you doing. That means, I think, it is so important that you are, and I am, every day are very, very clear why we are doing it. So I think to make it very simple, I think missions has to come first. And we heard, I think, from the previous speakers, and of course you are in an arena, I think, to create a social value. And if this, how to say, is somehow in question, then just give up very, very quickly. And in our sense, I think we are, as you can see here, I think we want to practice social inclusion on a global scale. And secondly, of course, we want to employ as much as blind people, as disabled people as possible. And of course, what is very important, we want to change the perspective between us and them and people who are different. So otherwise, it's a big topic. Oh, this was wrong. Let me see. Can you open? Okay. Now, in these days, I think I'm let's say heading three companies. In the moment, I had 8 companies, so I was collecting companies, but this was more, I think, out of regional reasons. And we want to go in Mexico. We opened a Mexican company, we go to Italy, Italian company. And now I think there are 3 companies left. And let me quickly explain. In Hamburg, we are now for 10 years. So 10 years, Dialogue is running on a permanent basis in Hamburg, and there are roughly 100 people are working. And half of them are blind, of course. And what we are doing, I think we're doing the exhibition, we're doing this dining in the dark, and of course we do a lot of leadership trainings and team development, I think, for companies. 6 years back, we opened the company in Frankfurt. So it's the same, let's say, program as in Hamburg on a permanent basis now, and you can see there are 60 people working, half of them are blind, and then the others, the other product line you can see here is more or less the same what we do in Hamburg. What I'm talking about now is more, let's say, the international company, the Dialogue Social Enterprise, which is responsible, I think, to roll out the idea, and I think to find partner organizations worldwide. And this is somehow like a consultation company, so we're doing consultation business and traveling, I think, day and night, I think, to help people to set up dialogue in the dark. As I told you, I think I'm German, and we started, let's say, as a good German company. There was only German people there, but little by little, I think we really changed into an international company. And these are my colleagues. For instance, we have a Chinese CEO, one lady is from India, the other lady is from Bulgaria, we have Mexican colleagues, and so on, American colleagues. That means if you want to become internationally, it is very important, I think, that you are changing in a certain way, I think, your behavior, and then you go out of your comfort zone. And so in these days, I think we are definitely an international company. It is important, I think, to be active and to be, let's say, to be successful in different markets. Looking now back 1 year, so these are the cities where we were active in the last year. So this means we were in Thailand, in Switzerland, in Mexico, in China. We are very active in China, in Singapore, and so on and so on. That means you can imagine what it means, I think, to run a business and to really, I think, to move on and then to be all over the place. So in fact, we should have an own airline company because we are traveling, in fact, day and night. And now, for me, myself, I'm traveling at least 200 days a year because I think to go further and to promote the dialogue in the dark. And these are, let's say, the sites where we are hosted. For instance, this is in Italy on the left side, this is Mexico, this was in France, this was in Seoul in Korea, this is in Japan, this was another Italian site, This is our Hamburg hub, I will talk a bit later. This is our Frankfurt hub, but this is in Mexico. So that means, I think, we need a certain physical space, and this is, of course, to hold the company. In Hamburg, we are now for 10 years, and it started with state funding. In the beginning, for 3 years, we had some state funding, but little by little, I think I understood that state funding, it doesn't help us so much. Because, you know, you start, and then state funding is all the time, let's say, based on very clear regulations. But when you are, let's say, an entrepreneur, I think things are changing, and you have to keep your flexibility. That means we, after 3-4 years, we said, okay, listen, we don't want to have any more state funding. It was only 5% of the general budget in any case. So it was, how to say, for us a consequence to give up. And now, I think, after 10 years, now we are in the 11th year so far, I think Hamburg is still running very, very well. Is doing break-even, is financially sustainable, and have every year around 80 to 90,000 visitors who are going through the exhibition. Another interesting model is in Singapore. In Singapore, we are part of a university program. The Singapore University, they invited us, I think, to set up a Dialogue in the Dark exhibition at the campus of the university. And what happened, we have now 16 students who are working at the exhibition together with 16 blind people. So they can gain credit points when they are studying and doing their internship, and of course it's a wonderful way of emotional learning when you are on a day-to-day basis together with blind people and you run your business. To conclude, I think now after 23 years we have been in 34 countries and reached more than 7 million people and could give work for 7,000 blind people globally. You know, you can say, wow, fantastic, my goodness, 7,000 blind people, 7 million people that they came in contact with Dialogue in the Dark. Honestly speaking, this is just a drop in the sea. And what I understood, there is no single moment where I say, okay, wow, I'm bright, I'm fantastic, and so on and so on. Far beyond, really far. I think, you know, there are so many things to do, and you all the time, I think, try your very best, but it's still all the time like a drop in the sea. And when I was at a conference, and I spoke with somebody from World Vision, and about disaster relief, and I understood, my goodness, what these guys are doing, you know, I'm immediately humbled, and I said, wow, what I'm doing is of course nice, and it's important on one side, but it's definitely just a really, really minor contribution. So there is no reason, I think, to be, let's say, to be fulfilled. And this is maybe another very, very important component to be a social entrepreneur. You never ever come to an end. You never ever, let's say, okay, it's done, now I can go to pension, or I can go to the beach club, or whatever. You are hungry all the time. You are never satisfied. And this is exactly the energy you need, I think, to keep you running every day. You know, I'm now doing this for 23 years, and I'm 55 years old, and people ask me all the time, listen, how you can manage, how you can do it, how you can take off, where you get the energy. And I will tell you, I always have the feeling that I get much more than I give. And if you have this feeling that you are, let's say, receiving much more than you give, I think then you are on a good track. Okay, talking about money. I told you that I have no idea about business, and I'm studying philosophy, right? But I have no idea about business. I never made any courses. I have no idea about accounting, about reporting, all that stuff. It's never at all my excellence. But the only thing I know, and that I learned pretty fast, is no money, no honey. This is my principles of doing business. And the question is, okay, how to earn money? In these days, I told you that there's these 3 companies. We need per year 5 million euro. I have no idea about Turkish lira, but definitely a lot. 5 million euro is quite something, and we are not state funded, and we are not receiving any sort of donation. The only support we get is through SOGLA and through Schwab pro bono services, which are of course extremely helpful. Legal services, accounting services, PR services, and strategical, let's say, advice. This is a wonderful, let's say support, but we don't get any cash. It means we have to earn our money day and night. And the question is, of course, how we can generate money, how we can earn money by selling darkness and pushing people to employ blind people. In Hamburg and in Frankfurt, we are running an operation like a museum. That means people have to pay an entrance fee, 15 to 18 euro, it depends. So people are paying this how to generate income, and this is how to say how it is sustainable. On international level, we are in fact like McDonald's. You know, I think we are like dialogue, and what we are doing is when somebody from Singapore or from Japan or from the United States or from Argentina want to have dialogue in the dark, then of course we are sending our people, we are like consultants, so our blind or deaf people, and our program is deaf people, are sending them to go into the countries, giving consultation, and then little by little I think then the people on the side understand how they can operate that dialogue in the dark. And then when everything is set and the team is on place and the exhibition is on place, I'm coming and say cheers and good luck and God bless you and I drink champagne, and then the people are invited to pay us a license fee. So it's a license fee. And the license fee is for the brand down in the dark and to use the concept. Well, now after all this, let's say, working with Down in the Dark for such a long time, the question is, of course, what is really the driver and what is the vision? On one side, of course, now we can, let's say, replicate the program, and we can do it now in 60 countries or in 80 countries, and this will come automatically. The question is, okay, what is really the essence, and what is really the reason why I'm doing it? You know, this painting is from a Dutch painter from the 17th century, Heinecke. And you see, this is how to say, an image about blind people, you know, helpless, poor in a certain way, depending, not a funny life. And this is really my understanding after doing it such for a long time. The basic understanding towards blindness is not at all, let's say, shifted not at all. I mean, there's still a lack of understanding. We still think poor people, blind people are poor, people are dependent, they do nothing, and this is exactly what has to be changed. These girls are from Mexico. These are young blind girls. And I think what we are doing is that they understand that blindness is an asset, blindness has a value, and we as sighted people can learn a lot out of the encounter with blind people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Heinecke. It was great to have you here. Please accept this as a thank.
Thank you very much.